John News uncovers plan by Upper West Regional Coordinating Council and its State Security Liaison Office to recruit and train MPP activists as election security to, among other things, guard ballot boxes for election 2020.
You think training is imposed on elaborate timetable with what do you call it? Is that what you call it? Or uniform and things? Was I in Accra? I didn't go to Ayawaso West to go and cause any problem.
We'll hear from the man at the center of the controversy, a regional security liaison officer, as he mounts strong defense of his actions. Also tonight, Chairperson of Commission of Inquiry into Ayawaso by-election violence allays fears of the NDC, indicating the Commission's resolve to be transparent in execution of its mandate.
We would like to assure all and sundry that we shall carry out our mandate transparently, objectively, and in a fair manner.
This is Top Story with Evans Mensah.
Top Story is always brought to you by Born. Your success, our passion. Also brought to you by Gasem Cement, the nation builder. Vodafone, the future is exciting, and Nationwide Health Insurance. Now, John News has uncovered plans by the Upper West Regional Coordinating Council, led by its Security Liaison Office, to recruit and train MPP activists as what they call election security team that will, among other things, guard ballot boxes in the 2020 elections. This is contained in a leaked correspondence to New Patriotic Party constituency chairman in the Upper West region, amidst concerns of the use of the state apparatus to train party activists. Now, this revelation comes barely 24 hours after government sponsored a two-day National Security Stakeholders Forum to deliberate on ending political vigilantism. My colleague Joseph Opoku-Gakpo has seen a copy of that correspondence and is in the studio with me with details. Joseph, so first of all, who writes this letter?
So this is a letter from Captain Simon Antu Tengabo, retired. He is the Regional Security Liaison Officer at the Upper West Regional Coordinating Council in Wa.
And when was this written?
This was on the 28th of January 2019, last month.
And who is he addressing this to?
So it's addressed to constituency chairman of the NPP in the Upper West region. So it comes with the salutation, NPP constituency chairman, Upper West region, and then he goes on with the additional details of the letter.
But he also copies this to a number of other state actors, including some state actors.
Yes, so he copies the regional chairman of the NPP, the Upper West regional minister, the Upper West regional minister, and also municipal and district chief executives in the Upper West region.
And what does he say?
It comes under the heading Selection and Submission of Election 2020 Security Team Members for Training. In the first paragraph, Captain Simon Antu Tengabo, the Upper West Regional Security Liaison Officer, says, "Grateful you submit a list of suitable security-oriented party members for training as election security team members to closely monitor the 2020 elections, starting from the reopening of the voters' register through to the actual elections and up to declaration of results."
So when you look at that first paragraph, these people they describe as security election team will do few things. And their work will actually start in earnest when they reopen the voters' register. It will also then continue to the actual elections, as in December 7th, and then to the declaration of results. And we'll learn shortly, because we pose as one of these chairmen just to try and figure out what exactly these people will be doing. But he goes further, gives us additional details.
He does. And again, note that he's asking them to identify suitable security-oriented party members. So not exactly party people.
Okay, so these are people who already have an inclination. In fact, he would describe it.
Okay.
We had a secret recording, of him, in which he describes the people he needs. He says he doesn't want people, he wants courageous people, not people when you shout they'll run away. And so we'll get into those details shortly. But he then goes ahead to give a bit of numbers and specifics.
He does. He says the list should comprise a leader, and 10 others. A leader and 10 others, bringing the number to 11. Now he says after their training and orientation, the teams will in turn select and also train polling station election security teams to cover all polling stations in your area.
But that's the question, right? So these people are a security team, and they're going to be in all polling stations in your area, and so it appears that they're going to be operating under the party machinery. But clearly, he's operating from a state agency, this coordinating council.
And it's even clearer in the next paragraph, the role that the state generally is playing in all of this. He says, please carefully select and submit your district and municipal list to the regional security liaison officer at the regional coordinating council at WA in the Upper West region by February 2019. And then he goes on to give some specific telephone numbers, a 020 line and a 024 contact as the contact numbers that they can reach out to for any clarification. But they are to submit the list of people by February 2019, and then Captain Simon Ansu Tengabo goes on to say, thank you for your cooperation.
And so you see there the use of the state agency as in the Regional Coordinating Council in the Upper West region to do the recruitment. In other words, they are facilitating the process of the recruitment. You know what? You stay with me because the NDC has a statement out tonight that I will be getting to shortly. So we wanted to understand a bit more what this is all about and what this training will do, what these individuals will be doing specifically. And so we posed as one of those constituency chairmen and called the regional security liaison officer in question and wanted to find out exactly what these people will be doing and what qualities they need to bring to the table to qualify as what they call election security team. Listen to what unfolded. I'll bring you that detail shortly. We'll also be hearing from very shortly the security expert Chris Yening, who will join us shortly with his own perspective on this matter as far as the training is concerned. Details of that shortly. But Joseph, as we have this conversation today, in the upper West region, there have been interviews already with the gentleman in question, in which he is justifying what he's done. He's justifying the training of these individuals there. We'll hear that also shortly. The NDC has a statement out, by the way. And remember that this is all happening in the context, last few days, we've seen the Yawaso West Wagon by-election confusion. We've seen the setting up of the Commission of Inquiry. The NDC has a statement of the Commission of Inquiry. This is official party position. What does he say?
So it's a press release on the establishment of a Commission of Inquiry to investigate what the NDC is describing as the senseless violence which characterized the Ayawaso West Wagon by-elections, and it's dated the 8th of February, signed by the party's General Secretary, Johnson Asiedu Nketia. In the opening paragraphs, the party says it notes the establishment of a Commission of Inquiry in response to both local and international outcry following the scandalous assault on democracy during the Ayawaso West Wagon by-elections on 31st January 2019. It is gratifying that the power of the people has for once, under the present administration, prevailed over the caprices of the executive. Then he goes on to make the point that we remain skeptical about the seriousness with which justice will be pursued under the remit of an Emil Short Commission, Johnson Asiedu Nketia said. And then he goes on to say, it had been their hope that in response to the demands of the people, there would have been the composition of a neutral body to investigate the matter. Rather, they see a situation where they've been presented with a commission staffed by a roster of former appointees of the erstwhile NPP administration, some of whom are conflicted by their intimate relations with 7 cabinet members. He goes on to say the president must take note that the appearance of political bias in such a matter at this time has the same effect on the public confidence as it actually is, and that they are concerned that there's been the situation of presidential interference in similar inquiries and subsequent clearing of most of the appointees, obviously. And then in this part, they go on to make a very interesting point that the NDC will persist in their vigilance on behalf of the people of Ghana and their republic, and will be unrestrained in their insistence that there is already ample evidence in to actually pursue criminal charges against the perpetrators of this mayhem. We will not participate in any attempt to obscure the quest for justice by introducing irrelevant extraneous affairs for the purpose of equalization, nor by the abuse of inherent immunities granted under Chapter 23 of the 1992 Constitution to protect the offenders from criminal prosecution. So note that point, that they say they will not participate in the work that is actually being done by the commission that was inaugurated earlier today.
In fact, the words they used there is that they would seek their own sort of position. Is simple, that this Short Commission is a non-starter, and on the basis of its composition, obvious political coloring, and the president's own track record, we will not relent in the pursuit of justice outside the commission. And we'll seek clarity from the party very shortly on this matter.
Then they go on to say that they are noting that the events on which the inquiry must be premised are manifestly different from past incidents observed in prior elections, and that this is not about vigilantism, and that the acts of the overzealous rogue element in either party in time past cannot be equated to the admission of Brane Champong, the Minister of State in charge of national security, which are tantamount to their use of state terror as a tool of political advantage.
Okay, Joseph, we'll return to this shortly, because the chairperson of the commission, Justice Emil Short, today at their swearing in and inauguration, has something to say about the credibility of the commission. We'll hear that shortly. But also on the line with me right now is security analyst Dr. Kwesi Yening. Hello, Dr. Kwesi Yening. Thank you for your time here on Top Story.
Oh, it's a great pleasure.
Before I even come to you, we did a secret recording of the national security, this regional liaison security officer at the Upper West Regional Coordinating Council. We posed as one of the chairmen that he's written to, asking for the list of MPP activists to train, just so that we can get a clearer picture of what exactly they will be doing. I want you to listen briefly to what he told us, what transpired in this conversation.
Hello.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon.
Sir, this is Lee from One Central.
Yes.
The Mari Metro area.
Yes.
I beg, the list, no, the security list. I'm trying to find out whether you've captured the one I sent from my area.
What did you send? What did you send it?
We sent it, I think, yesterday or Wednesday, if I'm not mistaken.
I'm not in the office now. I will have to check in the office whether if not, you have to resend it.
But so far, in my area, you see, you ask for 10 people.
Yes.
But my area, there are more guys who want to, take part. I don't know if you can create space.
We are going to use different groups. So don't worry. Hello?
You say you are going to do what?
Like, we'll use different rules. Rule means that some people will be involved in monitoring the registration of voters.
Okay.
You see that? And it is just a greeting. So you know exactly what you have to do. There are some who want to be there, because sometimes you see that there are small boys and girls they going to register. That should not be enough. You draw attention. That's what we are talking about. That's for that part. It's not, the training is not something formal, or it's like just a greeting.
So that one is part, and then there's another part, because there's the rule. So the other rule will be what?
The rule is what you call a polling station when you are observing.
On the election day.
Yes.
One part will be for registration, then the other part will be for the election day proper.
Yes.
So
and we have to carry to see the ballot boxes to the place, not escort them. So ballot boxes should be make sure they go to the polling center. Polling center. And if anybody wants to disrupt the voting, and the police are just standing there, which that happens, what do you do? All these things. Yes.
Okay. So I beg you, I'm bringing tough guys. I just want to know what form of training that will be given to them because they are.
Oh, no, it's not really like military training or something physical. Yes, but the thing is someone who come to my office.
Okay.
You know my office, come to your office. Or it's not anything that we are going to do violent, no. But you monitor all those and see that the correct thing is being done. Of course, you don't bring weak people who when you just shout at them, they run away. They encourage you people, but not some people when you just shout, they run off.
So you heard him there. Don't bring weak people. Bring courageous people. We don't want people that when you shout at them, they run away. Admittedly, he says that their intention is not to cause violence. However, he says that one of the roles that the security team trained under the umbrella of the Regional Coordinating Council will do is to guard and protect ballot boxes, but also registration, protests, etc. In that part of the country. Dr. Kwesi Aning is still with me on the telephone line. Ms. Aning, your reaction to this?
Well, you see, state resources must not, cannot, and should, under those circumstances, be used to train party members. 2, the provision of security at polling stations is the responsibility of the official statutory security forces. I think it's unfortunate that people seem to conflate their public positions with their party positions. Now, this character was from the garrison education side of the Ghanaian forces and is demonstrating a terribly weak understanding of the security needs of its region and of this country, and actually of election security. Election security, the frontline institution is the Ghana Police Service, supported by allied services with the military as the last security institution. So to find a political party that sends this letter out 2 days before the stakeholder meeting at Aburi, in which we all took part, poses very disturbing issues about the trust that the stakeholder process seeks to engender amongst different interest groups. And I think some people within the MPP party, both at the secretariat level and at cabinet level, will have to explain both to the civil society guys who were at the stakeholder meeting and to the people of this country why state resources are being abused and used for parochial party political interests. You see, because this ties in to the national security business that took place at the Ayawaso by-election. Non-statutory security forces must not be permitted to play this role. It's unconstitutional. It undermines the official services. It threatens their loyalty to the state and their willingness and preparedness to lay down their lives for Ghana. The implications for such irresponsible behavior, what we saw at Ayawaso on the 31st, and this long-term plan to train tough men who will be willing and prepared when and if necessary to stand up to the statutory security forces. You see, these disparate acts of irresponsibility almost come together to read as a declaration of war. Now, who are you warring against? The electorate who are going to stand in the sun for 7 hours to to vote for people who otherwise, if not because of politics, would be nowhere? And who tells them the people of Ghana would want to stand in the sun and vote so they may be shot at? Look, I think the implications of such irresponsible behavior are simply mind-boggling. And people don't seem to understand it. When you train these boys and you arm them and you give them military techniques and you lose control, they will take over the state. It is beginning. What happened at Ayawaso was a dry run by these folks who think they have been trained. They don't respect authority and hierarchy, and therefore they can do what they want. Now, with the video footage that we have, why haven't they been arrested? Working for an RC's Regional Coordinating Council or the National Security Council does not give anybody the right to flout the rule of law. So this is very dangerous behavior. We are seeing what has happened in Liberia, Sierra Leone, La Côte d'Ivoire already. The drums of war are being beaten by Guillaume Soro and Bédier. Their boys who have been lying fallow are beginning to arm. Burkina Faso has been taken over almost all the way down to Ouagadougou, not by rebel groups, but also by political facts. So we should be careful.
Mr. Nick, so what do you reckon? And the wake of Ayawaso, many including yourself, had said that Ayawaso was just a tip of the iceberg of what could happen in 2020. Here we are, a leaked document actually suggesting that already state agencies are already being coerced and used, facilities being used possibly to train party activists to serve as election security team for the 2020 elections. What should happen now? What should happen now?
Well, before I come to what should happen, look, nobody is being coerced. People are driven by their narrow pecuniary interests to willingly join. Violence has become a currency and a criminal enterprise that allows people to get access to political power. We heard on some of the Ayawaso tapes that this is preparing for 2020. You will see.
Exactly.
This letter proves that there's a dangerous strategy to win 2020 by hook or crook, and also with the abuse or by the abuse of state resources. We saw it at Ayawaso, that those who perpetrated these crimes are from the National Security Council. But the council itself is not an operating council. It doesn't have a unit nor a department for doing these things. How do we clamp down on this? Well, I think we've given the cabinet ministers who were at our retreat a roadmap. But the roadmap is very simple. Pull back from the brink, or all these organizations will actually even prevent 2020 from taking place, because the slope and the gradient of the steep, slippery slope in which we are running towards chaos is such that 2020 may not even happen. You see, because when this letter and the video footage from Ayawaso are joined, and I'm sure there are loads of other letters in the system that will come out soon, then you see, you don't expect others to stand idle and be brutalized.
Yeah.
Already we have close to 2 million guns in this country unregistered. Millions of ammo are coming in. Our borders are totally useless and hollow. Okay? These political facts are now franchising their strength and their power. They are not based in particular locations. You hide them to do what you want them to do. And I've said it and I continue to say it. Even the names that are chosen by these thugs for themselves are emblematic of what they think they can do. The Mambas. You know what a green mamba can do to you.
Yeah.
The Hawks, the Pisons, Delta, Pentagon, Al-Qaeda, Burma Camp, Taliban. Iconic names that symbolize power, fear, aggression, disrespect, indiscipline, and a willingness to challenge state authority.
Dr. Enning, I'm really grateful that you joined us. Just for the sake of time, this is something that, of course, just breaking and unfolding. I'm pretty sure in the coming days, and I've seen that you are on Newsfile tomorrow. I'll be curious to hear additional details as all this begin to make sense in the coming hours. And as I just indicated just before we went to speak to Dr. Enning, the NDC has a statement out tonight and has expressed his objection to the Commission of Inquiry that has been set up by the president to look into the Yawaso West Wuogon by-election violence. I'm grateful that I'm joined on the telephone line right now by the General Secretary of the National Democratic Congress, John Sesay Odenkiti. Mr. Odenkiti, I'm grateful for your time here on Top Story.
Thank you very much, and good evening to listeners.
As far as the Commission of Inquiry is concerned, I'm just curious whether the party will be cooperating if your members who may be caught up in the violence were invited.
Well, we have stated our position in many platforms. So the statement we issued this evening is a summary of the party's position. We don't believe that a commission of inquiry is the way to go in order to seek justice for the victims of the Ayawaso West Wuogon shooting. Indeed, we believe that the way the president is approaching the issue is just a way of covering up and making sure that nobody gets punished, for the events that happened in Ayawaso West Wuogon. And that is why we rather believe that a better way to ensure that the victims get justice is to pursue criminal prosecution straight away, because all the ingredients that are there to justify criminal prosecution are available. We don't know what the commission is going to bring out that is not already known by the state and state institutions. And indeed, His Excellency the President himself has prejudged the outcome of the Commission's work, as he normally does before setting up any investigative commission. He is on record as having said that this is an isolated incident, at Ayawaso West Wuogon. And so if the President is convinced that this is just some small isolated incident, why would you go to set up a commission to investigate a small, isolated incident?
And very finally, today we heard from the chairperson of the commission who says that committing to run a very transparent, credible investigations, just trying to allay the fears of those who do have questions. Does that address any of your concerns? Does that give you any comfort?
It doesn't, because the law governing the operation of such commissions is that anybody who appears there as a witness to give testimony acquires immunity from prosecution. And so we are talking about prosecuting of criminals. These are people that are known to have conducted themselves in a criminal way, and all the ingredients there to pursue criminal prosecution are available. So why would you go and invite them to a commission after which they will be immune from prosecution? According to the Constitution and case law, that immediately people appear before these commissions of inquiry, they cannot be prosecuted. Why would you do that? When in fact you know the people who committed those acts are known, they are not supposed to have been there at all. Number two, you know the victims. There is evidence, photo evidence about everything happening that happened there. And so far, nobody has been arrested as we speak. It is very clear by the admission of the Minister for State Security, or whatever you call him, Brian Achampong, that he actually has owned up in deploying these people who are also not known in our security setup, because we are not aware of any private army that has been raised anywhere. And then they come fully armed against all the agreements that we have arrived at to provide security for the election. The police IGP himself says he is unaware of any such deployment. And it is a theater where the police have the sole responsibility of keeping peace. So if you go and gather people, arm them, mark them, and deploy them to go and undertake a criminal activity, why would you need a commission of inquiry before you can prosecute? When you are also fully aware that our laws don't permit people who appear before commissions of inquiry as witnesses to be prosecuted. So it's a means of shielding everybody from prosecution. And so that is why we believe that, apart from the fact that the legal basis of the formation of the commission and the personalities involved, the partisan nature of the personalities involved, and the fact that the outcome of the commission's work has been already prejudged by the president, and so on. And then going by the history of commissions of inquiries into this country and where they have led us, we have the Waku Commission, which led to no prosecution of any of the people who killed Yana and the 40 chiefs. You have the case of the inquiry into the Ghana as 50 event, whose report went to court and everybody was set free, and so on and so forth. There are numerous counts of them. And the personalities that have been mentioned, the retired IGP, and you know he was involved in the cover-up of the 77 missing parcels of cocaine when he was a substantive.
Unfortunately, Mr. I don't know that for certain. I don't know. You may know.
Well,
but
I know that.
Yes,
he
but
was the IGP at that time.
I don't know if he was involved in the cover-up, and I don't have the evidence to
support.
He
was the IGP at that
time.
But
the fact that he was the IGP doesn't mean
that. It was during his tenure as IGP that a similar commission was established, chaired by Georgina Theodora Wood, and this current Minister for National Security, Kandapa, was the Minister for Interior. And they established this committee.
No, but so he was the IGP, but you can't say that is the reason why it was a cover-up. He was simply the IGP when this happened, when committees were established.
Yes, I'm telling you that the result was a cover-up. We never found the 77 parcels of cocaine.
But that is not a factual.
Died,
that is not factual. It's not a factual point to me.
Apietu was the head of the CID.
But all that you've told me are people were in positions when things happen. There's no direct correlation between them being there and a cover-up.
In those positions when these things happen. So if similar things are happening, and you go and put the same people there, and you expect that their work will generate something beneficial now, what are you talking about?
So the
way the events unfolded, when Yana was murdered, there was a reshuffle, and personnel of the CID were all reshuffled along the line, even when investigations were taking place. This is a similar case where investigations are happening, and people are calling for the resignation of IGP. Then the IGP is left in office to reshuffle everybody.
Kindly, just for a second.
How do you arrive at the truth of the events that took place?
Just for clarity, will the NDC cooperate with the commission or not?
I'm not sure they are inviting NDC to the commission.
Oh, I'm asking because they've been given broad powers to try and reconcile,
etc. They are not calling NDC to the commission. They may be calling individuals
yes.
who have been injured. It is up to them if they choose to go or not to go.
Okay. I'm grateful that you joined us. That is Johnson Asiru Nketia. He is the General Secretary of the National Democratic Congress. Ghana Connect starts right now. Hello, good evening, and welcome to Ghana Connect.